10 books that I believe will help you on your pickup journey. You've just got into game and you want a few books to read that you think will help you overcome a lot of the adversity when it comes to picking up girls. These are the 10 books that I recommend you start with for inner game, specifically inner game. But before we kick it off, I'm Dave, and this channel is dedicated to giving you no BS, novel dating advice for the modern man. My book's in the description, top link in the description to get coaching with me. You can join the Telegram group right now and get a free coaching call. No obligation, obviously, just join up to the group, be part of the original crew. The Facebook group has all the infield breakdowns and analysis. Join up to that. So let's start in no order. The top 10 books that I recommend that you guys read. Number one is Start With Why by Simon Sinek. Now, the book is okay, but the book is nowhere near as good as you literally searching right now for Simon Sinek Start With Why and watching his TED Talks and watching his interviews. There's hours of interviews for free on YouTube right now, and I recommend that you guys go through that right now. Why are you here? Why do you want to get good with women? What is your purpose? I think this is a great book and a whole bunch of videos on YouTube totally for free for you guys to watch right now. And I think that that would be very helpful for you. What are you trying to do? Why are you here? 2, The Winner Effect. Now, The Winner Effect was written by a psychologist. This is one of my favorite books. It does talk about incremental gains over time. And that is so important when you want to get good at any sort of skill or sport. And I think game is a skill. It is a skill, and over time you need to be upping your skill level over time. The Winner Effect talks about you get a little incremental gain, and then you get a testosterone hit. You get another little incremental gain, then you get another testosterone hit. I think that that is very, very useful. I recommend that you guys read The Winner Effect, definitely. 3, No More Mr. Nice Guy. Now, how many guys out there meet up with a girl and literally on the first date they are buying her gifts, paying for, you know, taxi to and from, buying an expensive, taking her to an expensive restaurant, and not really pushing forward into the interactions, and becoming a little bit bitter, becoming a little bit passive aggressive, and wondering why, as a nice guy and you giving so much value to her, she's not giving it in return. No More Mr. Nice Guy. Hopefully will snap you out of that. It's definitely a book that I recommend to a lot of guys out there, and some of you guys have already recommended this book along with The Winner Effect as well. This is one that you would never have expected. Grit by Angela Duckworth. She's another psychologist. Grit by Angela Duckworth is a very valuable book. It's an extremely valuable book. She talks about the difference between being born with some sort of magical skill and someone who's actually achieving and doesn't have too much skill, but they have grit, they fight through. And she goes and she looks at people who succeed in life, and she's noticed that a lot of them have grit. Grit is far more valuable than having this born skill. Putting your mind to a task and overcoming all of the obstacles with pure grit will give you success more than anything. And I think that has helped me in my life. And a lot of you guys out there, you might be watching pickup coaches all over the world. You might be looking at me going, oh, Dave's a legend, or these other guys are legends. But no, we got good at game because we put in the hard work to get here, right? We put in the time and the effort. We weren't born with these skills. And that's with every skill on planet Earth. Every skill that you can possibly do. And this book, Grit by Angela Duckworth, it spells that out. It is a great book. It's definitely one of the top books for me. I recommend that if you're struggling with game, grit. You need some grit. But seriously, it's a really, really good book. 5, I think we're up to 5 now. The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. Now, there is the obstacle is the way. The obstacle is the way. Going through the obstacle it is in line with grit, right? You see an obstacle, you got to go through it. It is based on stoicism. I believe in stoicism. I believe that you need to be able to overcome a lot of things, and the Stoics, and I have studied a bit of stoicism myself. I'm not going to recommend ancient Greek stoicism or anything like that. This is more a modern version. What you need to do is defeat emotions with logic. That's probably the most simplistic way to put it. You're going to get emotional. You're going to have all these problems, and they're going to affect you in emotional ways. If you read my book, I came to that conclusion myself. I was getting into stoicism when I was going through a lot of my ordeals in the past. You need to be able to think in a logical way. What do I want to achieve right now, instead of thinking about all the emotional feminine things. Emotions is the feminine. Logic, in my opinion, is masculine. What do you need to do? What concrete things can you achieve right now, and how do you get there? Very important, so important for you guys to learn that. Ryan Holiday, I will point out something which I think is very important. Maybe you guys already know this. Ryan Holiday wrote this book in his mum's basement, right? He's never really had to overcome anything in his life. His personal life has been just an easy run. He's had an easy life. He's never had to actually overcome something. I think it's important to say that, but I'm still recommending the book because this guy wrote one of the best books while never actually going through any real adversity himself. Okay, I just wanted to point that out to you guys, that if you're going through a lot right now and you find out that Ryan Holiday never actually personally went through it, I get what you mean. The book is still awesome. Okay, now Lying by Sam Harris. Now, I have recommended in the past that on certain things, some guys lie. Now, the feminists out there are going to say, that's manipulation, you're manipulating girls into bed, you're lying to them. I get it. I recommend this book for a reason. Lying by Sam Harris. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, he has a PhD in, neurology or something. He understands how the brain works. He's not a psychologist, not a psychiatrist. He understands how the brain works. Lying by Sam Harris. He will tell you that you shouldn't lie in almost any. There's no reason, almost no reason. There's a few reasons he outlines in the book. Almost no reason for you to lie in any way, shape, or form in day-to-day life, really. And mostly, I believe in almost everything in that book, except for a few little things where read the book, get back to me, obviously. Next one is, what are we up? We're up to 7, I think. Never split the difference. Chris Voss. He was an FBI negotiator. And I also got his digital product. He's got a great digital product online. Maybe you guys can find that as well. The book is awesome. The digital product is even better. He's an FBI hostage negotiator. He talks about a lot of things. I learned from him the art of mirroring. Now, mirroring is something that I like to use in text. And I've made videos about that in the past. Haven't really tested it to see how effective it is, but so far, in a pseudoscience-y sort of a way, it seems to be working quite well. Chris Voss knows what he's talking about, and he's put a lot of time and effort into this. It's not like he came along and then just said, oh look, this is how you do it. And that's what he talks about in the book. He says that all of the old negotiating styles, they didn't work, and so never split the difference. Sorry, he does talk about we should work together, even if we're on opposite sides, even if we're enemies. We should work together. Even if you're a hostage negotiator and you're a terrorist holding hostages, we still can be kind of friends and kind of work together in a mature adult sort of way to try and achieve some sort of goals together. And that should be with everything. I've learned that a lot with a lot of the drama online. I've been involved in drama online for a very long time, and I think it's similar to hostage negotiations sometimes. It can be very fun putting these things into practice. I've put a lot of them into practice, and I think Chris Voss knows what he's talking about. 7. This has to be 7. Now, this is out of left field, and I get it. It's called The Inner Game of Tennis. Now, tennis, which I haven't played in a very long time, it's a mental game. Tennis is not just a physical game. If you watch tennis and you try to look at interviews about tennis stars, that match point, that point where the opposition has match point and you're in trouble, or you have a match point and all you have to do is go through the motions that you practiced. Sometimes mentally, some tennis players are more mentally strong than other tennis players, and they win based on their ability to focus on the goal at hand and not get flustered, not get emotional, not let the adrenaline go to their brain and overwhelm them. And the inner game of tennis, I think, is very relatable to you standing in front of a beautiful girl and trying to run your game. You'll probably realize that you will approach a girl that you're not so attracted to. Maybe you approach to a granny as a practice warm-up or whatever. You approach an average-looking girl, and you won't be nervous because she's not that attractive, right? And you'll be able to run your game perfectly. But when you go and approach the girl that you're really attracted to, that's when the butterflies happen. That's when the adrenaline kicks in and you really make you stutter your words, you make some serious mistakes. That's an inner game problem that you've got. That's you not having the ability to run the same game on a girl you're not attracted to as running a game on an absolute 10 that you could see her having your kids and marrying her. Now, this is an inner game problem, and I think it's very relatable to the book, The Inner Game of Tennis. It's an old book. I remember reading this a long time ago. You can get a lot of these books on Audible, by the way. Almost all of them are on Audible if you're looking for a cheap way to get into it. 8. This is another Ryan Holiday book. Okay, now I am the first to criticize Ryan Holiday, but he is a damn good writer and he knows what he's talking about. He has compiled the perfect information for each of these topics and made some of the best books ever. Okay, I want to just some context to that. Ego is the Enemy. This is another awesome book. Both those books are awesome. Ryan Holiday, obviously, this book, Ego is the Enemy, he has a little bit of personal experience with this particular book, Ego is the Enemy. I recommend you guys read that because he does talk about a lot of high pressure situations. Do you really want to put yourself in high pressure situations? It's also in line with Start With Why. It's like, what are you doing with your life? Do you really want to be that person? And dealing with a lot of this emotion. He does all of his books, all the books that I've seen anyway, they come from a bit of a stoic mindset where you need to deal with adversity and you need to have a stoic mindset to overcome it. You need to focus on what's the next step. Just go through even if you're under a lot of pressure. Ego is the Enemy. I recommend that book as well. And finally, Extreme Ownership. It's all in the title. His name's Jocko Willink, and there was another guy, Extreme Ownership. You can check out his YouTube channel. But I think even if there's a lot of videos out there for all of these books. You can just search the names of the books and actually watch TED Talks or watch interviews with the authors. Extreme Ownership, he he was was he a sergeant, or he wasn't a general, he wasn't that, he was like a captain, and he had like a group of they're like elite soldiers in Afghanistan, Iraq, and he had to train all of his troops that were under his command. And some of those troops would do stupid things. They would do things that he had not thought of. Now, extreme ownership is taking taking responsibility for the stupid things that other people did, because the people under his command, he should have thought about that. How would they deal with this particular situation? And their reaction got somebody killed. That's my fault, because I should have thought of all different scenarios that could have happened, and I should have avoided it. I like this. I really like this. Everything's your fault. You read my book. I blame a lot of people and I complain about a lot of things, but I also take extreme ownership over it, you see? And a lot of people also hear me talk about my age and other things like that, but what I also do is I identify the problem, and I go, okay, well, I'm going to overcome it in a stoic, in a logical way. I'm not getting an emotional and going, oh, you know, I'm going to cry myself to sleep and not take any action. Identify the problem, overcome it. Extreme Ownership is one of those books where you really, I think there's a saying where smart people identify a problem that just arose and they solve it. Geniuses see problems before they arise and warn you before they even happen. And I think Extreme Ownership and Jocko Willink is far more intelligent than I think people give him credit for. And Extreme Ownership is one of those awesome books, and it's a great book to end on. I recommend you guys read every single one of those 10 books. Obviously this one here. This was probably 11. It's nowhere near as useful. It's more of an autobiography. Those 10 books are far more useful than this book. If you want to get to know me, that's this book. And if you like this, click the subscribe button. Telegram group, Facebook group has all the infield breakdowns in it. Telegram group, you get a free coaching call with me. And if you want to learn the sweet art of cold approach, well, I definitely recommend the top link in the description, and you sign up for a boot camp, because I'll be taking on guys as soon as possible. Actually, there's a lot going on at the moment, but I'm hoping to get amongst it as soon as possible. I'll see you guys in the next video.